Hey, all you readers out there, welcome back with the Good Life Bookstore. This is another rendition of Seen and Spoken, and I am one of your favorite authors, Good Life Russ, and you can follow me by that name everywhere.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am your second favorite author, Chloe Simone. You can find me at Chloe Simone Studio on all social media platforms. And we are here. We have a real treat. I'm super excited about this discussion. We are here with a phenomenal woman. And let me tell you something. I am never ceased to amaze the skills and talents that she has. Every time we talk, I find something new she knows how to do. It's not new for her, it's new for me. This is Big Sis. I am super excited. Big Sis Neff, tell us who you are.
Grand Risings Collective and Reflections. I am Nefertkau, Offset Alhenna, painter, poet, entrepreneur. Now I'm an author, mother. And yeah, I'm just here trying to find my way, how to maneuver through this physical realm like everybody else.
Oh man, say that again. So tell me a little bit about like your name specifically. What's the spiritual significance? Why did you choose it? What does it mean? And how does it represent where you are now?
Okay, so I started out by watching a very spiritual brother named Nazir Ra on YouTube. And he advised that when you level up to your higher self, you have to give yourself a name. So I was just breezing through them, like, how can I find my name? But it came to me because I'm very much connected to Egyptian culture. So Nefertikau is Sneferu daughter, which I believe he was in like the 13th dynasty. Don't quote me on that, but that was his daughter. And so he said you had to find an Egyptian name, an Arabic name. So I came up with Offset because who doesn't know who Offset is? And I embody her power, her spirit, and everything that she stood for as a goddess. And then Alhenna is the Arabic name. So all together, which is so weird, when I actually put it together and I researched it, Nefertikau Offset Alhenna means beautiful constellation of hold on, rewind. Beautiful star in the constellation of Gemini. So I happen to be a Gemini. And so once I like researched with the whole name that I put together, I said, this found me in the weirdest way. But
that's really perfect.
Yeah. And I was like, that is so weird. But you know what? It's not weird. It was in alignment for me.
Yeah.
So yes.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, sending a special shout out to all the other Geminis,
Yes.
All right. Well, let's dive in. We want to start off your segment with a little thing that we like to call What's the Book About? We want to show people what your cover looks like and give us just like a quick couple, maybe 20 to 30-second rundown. What's our book about? What's life about?
Yeah, so I titled the book Life because the word within itself is a reflection of what life, your perception of what life means to you. And the definition of life to me is experience, because we're all here in this physical realm for the experience, which happens to be life. So it's just a deep dive of tapping into yourself of what life to you looks like, feels like, and means, and knowing that your perception of your life is not the same as anybody else's perception.
I love that.
Gratitude.
That's how you sum up a book.
Yeah. Well said.
So we're gonna dive straight into you. So this is the direction I typically like to start in. Can you give us some insight on what life was like for you growing up with books? Did you have books in the home? Did you go to the library to read? Were you given books? Can you give us a little insight on that?
Okay, yes. So growing up, I don't recollect that I was given books. I know once I got into elementary school, I loved when we had to go to the library.
Mhm.
One thing about me is that I am not a reader. I'm not a reader. I had to force myself to be a reader. So growing up, I wasn't really given books, but when I went to school and we had went to the library, I was very intrigued about books. There's something about colors and patterns that made me want to read books. But remind you, I never really enjoyed reading books because it's like they're so long, keep turning the page. And I'm like, I just didn't have the patience to really understand why we need books. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So many different
Mhm.
books that there were and why we need to read them. But then when I tapped into my liking for books, that's when I started actually reading books and not just turning the pages and looking at the colors and shapes and things of that nature. But yeah, so
Mhm.
school has really taught me to embrace what the experience is, what you can actually find and pull out of a book. It's not all about the cover. It's about what's inside that book that may attract you to certain things that you never knew that you knew.
Mhm. Well said.
Love that, man.
Thank you.
She giving me these mic drop moments. I don't know how to respond to some of this because it's just so thorough. Okay, I got a question for you then. Um, when did you know? Like, how did you know it was time for you to write this book?
Oh, so it took me years to write this book. I kept putting it off, kept putting it off. One thing I will say is when I started going to college, um, I realized I had to write these essays and stuff. And I'm like, I don't like writing. I didn't never like typing. Um, and then I used to like reading books. I started out reading a lot of Stephen King's books, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So I think the very first book that I actually fell in love with was Ian Levan's book, In the Meantime. That
Mhm.
was one of my favorite books. That really brought the woman in me out of me. So her book was very inspirational. So just reading that, that's how I kind of tapped into self-love and growth and um, womanhood, sisterhood, and things of that nature. But I wrote this book sporadically, I would say, periodically. Here I'll drop a chapter, a half a chapter. Then it wasn't till I had let a job go and I just had time. And I'm at home and I'm just like, what am I doing? I started this book years ago. Let me just go ahead and finish it. So one day I just sat down and was typing and I'm like, wow, because the all memories and pain, hurt, all these emotions just came. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know what? It's time. So I actually got to finish the book and I'll say in perfect alignment
Mm,
because once I finished the book, it was time to go back to work. So I said, thank God that I had the
Mhm.
time to, actually write the book. But
yeah.
it was a very reflective within myself.
Mm,
Writing the book, it allowed me to look within myself. Some of the
mm,
things that I was holding on to, some of the things I need to let go of. Um, I would
yeah.
say childhood trauma, adult trauma. It just made me recognize a lot of things that where I was while I was writing that book, why things happened the way it happened, because it was in perfect alignment for me to write the book at that time.
Mm.
I mean, that feeds into also what was going to be my next question as far as, the journey and navigating writing. But I'll say now what I'll ask is, do you see yourself as an author?
I do. Um, Not only just as an author, but how could I say this? A motivational speaker for others.
Hmm.
Because it is through our books that we write. We are actually speaking to people's souls and spirits
Hmm.
Yeah.
through our books. So the term author to me is that, hey, I just wrote a book. I'm an
Hmm.
author. I wrote this book. But
Mm,
when you open that book, these words that I wrote in that book is me being your teacher because I
Hmm.
had to be a student first in order for me to write this book. to give
Mhm.
all these gems to someone else.
Mm.
That's how it spiritually was for me because I have some natives in my family. So even since I was young, I always loved storytellers. I love
Mhm.
sitting around the fire and just telling stories. You know what I mean? And I didn't know that would translate into writing and
Mhm.
healing and helping people. Like how a big part of that is the story you tell. Sometimes the nuggets are in the story, the lessons
Yeah.
are, the omens are in the story. So yeah, I definitely connect with that.
And can I add one thing to piggyback off to what you just said?
Yeah.
Um, One thing about me is that I have had insomnia for many years.
Okay.
And um, the reason why they say I had insomnia is because I have anxiety. And so I had a lot of anxiety at night. So I have to tell myself stories in order for me to fall asleep.
Hmm.
Mm.
So that's kind of where it's like it's getting to where I can really, I feel like I'm just in the beginning stages of writing.
Mhm.
Even though I wrote many essays in college, all my psychology classes I mastered, my English classes, but this is something different when it's just your real life.
Yeah.
So, just taking those stories and stuff that I have to um, re-unwind my mind in order for me to get a good sleep, that has shaped me in the form to where every story is not just a story. Sometimes it's the experience of the story. Like I'm
Hmm.
really lived some of this stuff that I'm already planning in my mind. It's like, wow, reflection. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So when
Yeah.
I go to sleep, I don't just dream. It's really me visiting my one of my versions of myself.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I
That's
love that. That's what I was told. Like one of my mentors, they tell me being an author is 10% documentation, 90% editing.
Mhm.
So to get started, you just got to write it down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And a lot of us,
Mhm.
we try to recall and remember, but like, nah, write it down. You see that vision, write it
Yeah.
down. You might use
Yeah.
it later. You know what I mean? You never know.
Hmm. Yes.
now,
Yeah.
another thing I love about like this platform is, you guys give me so much like information and knowledge and wisdom to like sit with. And I always
Yeah.
get these revelations when I'm hearing your story. So, first of all, thank you for sharing and being
Oh,
here.
gratitude.
But it does, we focus a lot of time on like the destination and getting to an end point. And a lot of
Hmm.
times, when we talked about having like an author series and talking to authors, the expectation is to hear how did they get to become an author? Where's the book? What is the book and what's the book about? But it really is about the journey. The
Yes.
journey is what is shaping us to be the vessels to share, like you said, the gems and the
Hmm.
stories, and to be receptive and obedient to being
Hmm.
in alignment with the things that are meant for us.
Yeah.
So I say that and I ask, what are you the most proud of in your journey to get here?
Mm.
Mhm. And it doesn't have
Believing in
to be the
myself.
best or the easiest. It could just be
Mhm.
you.
I'm gonna say believing in myself because
Yeah.
although like I can wear many hats, I do so many things.
Yeah.
There's nothing like believing in yourself. It
Mm.
doesn't matter how many things you can create. If you don't believe in yourself that you are the greatest creator of those things that you created, then what is the value of it
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
you? So that is one of the best things is just believing in myself because I've always find myself believing in so many other people that sometimes I have to constantly remind myself. Like the other day when I posted on Facebook that Russ said, writing a book is a big deal. And I said, I'm on book number 2. He said, sister, you're a big deal. And that
Yeah.
Mhm.
kind of had me reflect like, dang, I don't think I'm all that because I can do all these things. But when I think about it, like, I am a big deal. I
Mhm.
really am. And I need to walk it like I talk it. I have to believe it and know it. And then that will show. But don't like to use the word humble, but a lot of times I sit back and I just be like, I'm just who I am. I'm just Neff, you know what I'm saying? But when I really reflect and look back on everything that I have done and that I continue to do, yeah,
Mhm.
He was right. I'm a big deal.
I love that you already knew though. You internally,
Mhm.
there was a part of you that knew that because you chose that name for a reason. And when you
Yes.
found out the full meaning of that name, you didn't shrink or hesitate at all and say, "Oh, is this too much for me?" No, you were like, "Oh no, this is it. This is mine. This is me." So yeah, I love
Yeah.
that you internally already knew that. So yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that.
So I do want to touch on that more. This would be my final question, and I'll let Chloe wrap up before we have our final words. But are you at liberty to tell us a little bit what the new book is going to be about?
Sure. So, I can tell you. So, the new book is going to be about closure.
Okay.
What it means to you. Do you really need closure? Um, and how do you feel about closure? If you don't get closure, how would you feel? Um, After seeking for whether it's an apology, whether it's answers, whether it's people taking accountability. It's all about, I love this perception thing, but it's
Mhm.
really all about the perception of, do you really need closure? Because a lot of
Mhm.
people feel like we need closure in order to move on. And sometimes the disrespect, um, and people walking away, you walking away, sometimes that is the closure. You don't really, well, I won't say you don't really, but what is for people is for them. But sometimes
Mhm.
words does not define closure. Closure is
Yes,
inside of you. And
Yes.
what you do with it, that defines your closure that you need.
I agree with that. That's how I look at it too. Like we can't depend on other people for closure.
Mhm,
But that reminds me of a quote that I heard recently, and it said, "Every problem has a solution. So if there's no solution, you don't have a problem. It's just a new reality you need to accept."
mhm,
And sometimes that's where we are. We think we need closure, but we just have to accept like life has changed and we have to
mhm.
change with it. We can't stay the same anymore.
Yes.
I like how you put that.
Thank you. Gratitude.
Yeah. Y'all are knocking this out of the park.
Yo, I'm really nervous. Y'all have no idea. I'm like,
You're doing great.
Yeah. We know you don't need to be nervous around us.
yeah,
Definitely.
you're right.
No, I love that because another thing that I had to accept is why change is so hard to
Yeah.
accept. Because change is grief. Because in order to
Mhm.
change, you have to admit that you lost something or something
Yeah.
won't be the same again. And I had to learn to not just be like more empathetic to others, but empathetic to myself and
Yes.
say, hey, I get the opportunity. Like I also can allow myself space to grieve this
Yes.
change. And grieving is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
just, being able to release and get to a certain point where you can, move forward with, like you said, that different perception of
Yeah.
life. So thank you guys for sharing that. So my final question, because I just already feel like you always knew who you were. There was always something in you,
Yeah.
you know, and it was just a matter of you wanting to
Pulling it.
step into that.
Yeah, and pulling
Yeah.
it.
So I'm not going to ask you about the past anymore. I'm going to ask you about the future. So, what would you tell the older version of yourself, like 20 years from now? If you could go and tell your older self something, what would you say to her?
Let me go.
Mm,
Let me go. Stop holding on to me.
mm. I have no words to that.
That's it. Let me go.
Wow.
What do you need me for?
That is powerful in that.
That's the only thing I would say.
I mean, I mean, but it's like it covers so much in that. There's like so much in that.
It's kind of like you know how when you're teaching your children how to ride a bike and you're holding onto the back of the seat,
Yeah.
and the child is not saying, "I think I got it," but in your mind, you like, at any minute I'm gonna let go of the seat and they're gonna have to go by themselves.
Hmm.
That is how I feel. I had to let me go.
Let me go.
I don't need you holding on to me anymore.
All right. Well, I that changed my plans for the rest of the day. I'm gonna tell you that. See, y'all be sleeping on us Geminis, and we really have a lot to say. We got a lot of stuff to say. We got a lot of knowledge and experience. You need to get you one.
Hey.
Man, but no, that's my final question. Thank you so much for being here, showing up as yourself. That is the greatest gift that I feel like any artist, creative, and visionary can give the world, is to show up exactly how they were intended to be, because that gives us all grace to be able to show up as ourselves and really give the world what we are meant to be here to give.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mr. Russell, you got any final words for us?
Yeah, so in closing, I would say pay attention to the different episodes and everyone's story when it comes to reading. You don't have to be a great reader to be a great writer. You don't have to read every day to be a writer. Like, you just have to write and find yourself something to write on. You know what I mean? You can write on walls, you can write on paper, people get tattoos. But just make sure you're writing and telling your story, because we need your story.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we need these stories now more than ever with the way the books are being handled now. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later.
Peace, everybody.
Bye.